She claimed to be an avenging angel, a being that punishes those who hurt children. Open relationship was her thing, but some men never returned from a trip to her bedroom. It was getting dark. Fires were burning in Sheila La Barre's front yard. One of the officers examined a burn pile and was struck dumb. Sticking out of it was a bone, large and long, very much like a human one. The officers asked Sheila what the bone was. "It's either a rabbit or a child molester," she said offhandedly, then kicked the police out of her estate. Could the officers be wrong in their suspicion? Maybe the woman was simply burning junk abundant at a farm this big. The police were looking for a young Kenneth Countie, who'd been living with Sheila until recently. The couple first met in February 2006, and in a month, a commotion broke out at a local Walmart. Sheila came there to do some shopping, along with Kenneth, her half-as-young lover. He was in a wheelchair, and his face was covered in bruises, cuts, and burns. Next to him in the shopping cart were the purchases, 2 diesel fuel containers. Cops arrived at the Walmart, but Kenneth didn't say a word to them. Sheila made a scene and demanded that the officers stay out of her private life. Soon, Kenneth's mother lost all contact with her son. She filed a missing person report. The police had no substantial evidence against Sheila, so they resorted to phone calls. For days, no one answered. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, Sheila contacted then-Sergeant Sean Gallagher, only to tell him that Kenneth had left her, that he was a pedophile, and she had his confessions on tape.
And she was going to play a tape for me that would prove he was a pedophile. I told her to play the tape, but then I heard her say, "Why are you passing out? Why did you pass out?"
After the creepy phone call, the officers finally pay Sheila a visit. They come inside the house. It's in disarray. Rabbits running everywhere. Fires are burning in the front yard.
Probably around 6 o'clock at night, so it's dusk. We showed up, there was a burn pile. I kind of moved it a little bit, and I looked down and I saw a piece of flesh.
The soft tissue was attached to a straight object about 3.5 inches long. The cops immediately assumed it was human. What is this woman? Is she really dangerous? Only recently, the cops laughed when Kenneth's mother told them Sheila was going to murder her son. To seduce, yes. But to kill? Not her MO, the police thought. Sheila La Barre was something of a local celebrity in Epping, New Hampshire. Firstly, the town itself is pretty small. And secondly, there's no way you'd miss a woman like Sheila. The owner of a huge rancho, a silver Mercedes, and a voluptuous figure. Because of her love for revealing clothes, she got a nickname, Sheila the Peeler.
They were always hoping that she would maybe flash a little this or show a little bit of that. And she got that reputation because, well, she had no problem coming to the door for delivery men wearing almost nothing.
La Barre's rancho was frequented by men eager to spend a night with this rich and sexually active woman. But somehow, very few wanted to come back for more. Delivery services stopped sending their boys over, and handymen too steered clear of the farm. Even the cops came in pairs to look out for one another. When they would go to call, she would often be in very scantily dressed clothes, and sometimes she'd just drop it and bear it all to them. One of Sheila's guests, however, stayed a good while, though it seems not of his own volition. La Barre's neighbors saw him fleeing the farm several times. Once, in winter, a dairy farmer met the man outside the rancho. He stumbled onto the dirt road, his face cut up, blood dripping from his forehead. His voice was gruff, but the neighbor managed to make out the single word he was saying, Sheila. The surname La Barre was neither Sheila's own nor a husband's, and Epping was not her native town. Sheila K. Bailey was born in Alabama on the 4th of July. Her nickname growing up was Firecracker. It suited her personality to a T. With time, she got another nickname, Crazy Sheila. That's what the boys in the neighborhood called her, because she was trying to seduce every one of them. The girl was quite ambitious, too. She dreamt of becoming a model or a singer. But cruel fate sent her up to a local motel, and instead of a celebrity, she became a housekeeper. Sheila decided to right the wrongs with the help of wealthy gentlemen. Soon enough, she became a faithful reader of the Lonely Hearts newspaper ads, and to one such personal ad, she responded with this letter. Dear Special Man, I am 28. I have a great sense of humor and I love life. I judge a person from inside the mind and heart. If you wish to know more about me, you may call. It was addressed to Wilfred La Barre, a 60-year-old wealthy chiropractor who owned a horse farm in New Hampshire. Sheila included a photo of herself in pink underwear. Sure enough, the gentleman resolved to get to know her better. So in 1987, Sheila moved into his estate. Instantly, the woman changed her surname to La Barre, though she and Bill were never married officially. Sheila took the bull by the horns and quickly gained control over Bill's life, his relationships, his business, and his farm. It turned out that Sheila loved being in charge. Wilfred died of heart failure in 2000, and Sheila happened to be the sole inheritor of his estate. Now, she ruled it all, free to live her life as she wanted. Sheila loved being in charge of all situations possible. Hardly any men shared her cruel tastes, and those willing to visit the farm were becoming fewer and fewer. Sheila had to devise another strategy. She started looking for the weak. At the time, people could meet through a telephone dating service. Callers would create voice messages describing themselves. If a man sounded confident, Sheila deleted the voicemail at once. But if she detected uncertainty or any signs of low intelligence, that was a whole other kettle of fish. She'd put on her sweet face and go on a hunt. This is how she met Kenneth Countie, who went missing in 2006. He was developmentally disabled, and at the age of 24, he had a mental capacity of a 12-year-old. Nevertheless, had Kenneth known of her past, he might have never hooked up with Sheila. The woman had been married thrice. The first marriage lasted 6 weeks. The new wife gave her young stepdaughter alcohol and locked her up in a room the size of a closet. Sheila's second husband claimed she often turned violent. Her third husband, Wayne, ran away from the very horse farm in New Hampshire when Wilfred was still alive. Sheila offered her man to get rid of the farm owner. Wayne got scared and confided her plan to Wilfred. Frightened, Mr. La Barre helped the man escape. As for Sheila's next boyfriend, she threatened to run him over with a pickup truck, chased him with an axe, and even shot at him but missed. The man ran away from her, literally. All the other lovers came and went as if in a kaleidoscope. By the end of the second marriage, a bizarre incident occurred in Sheila's life. One day, she had a bad fight with her husband, then swallowed a bottle of pills and drove away in her car. Sheila is sitting at a table with various bearded men. One of them is none other than God. He assigns a special mission to Sheila, to get back to Earth and rid the world of pedophiles. Of anyone who hurts children, like those who hurt her when she was a kid. That's the story Sheila told everyone after the arrest. That is how she explained her actions. There's no way to know what dreams she saw after the car crash. One thing is certain, Sheila spent 8 days in a coma then. Still looking for Kenneth Countie, the police returned to the farm. This time, not with a welfare check, but a search warrant. There were burn piles in the yard again, but no suspicious bone-like objects sticking out of them. Nevertheless, Sheila didn't succeed in hiding her crimes from the forensic experts. Bloodstains were found all around the house. The DNA matched Kenneth's. In one of the burn piles, there was a bag with fine debris, including bone fragments. Sheila became the prime suspect. But having dyed her hair, La Barre had already fled the estate, along with a couple of rabbits and guns. Several days later, a man came to the police. He gave Sheila a ride, spent the day with her, and then saw her on the evening news. La Barre was arrested on April 2nd, 2006 in Massachusetts. on the charges of killing Kenneth Countie. However, her farm was hiding even more dark secrets. In the septic tank, a piece of paper was found. It was a birth certificate, and the name on the document was Michael DeLuge. His DNA was also detected in the tank. Thus, a second death at the farm was confirmed. The man was a drifter and estranged from his family, so no one was looking for him. Michael met Sheila in 2003 and soon moved in with her. He was the man the dairy farmer spotted stumbling near La Barre's farm. Michael was trying to escape to a homeless shelter, but turns out he never did. "Yes, I killed them," Sheila finally confirmed. "They were pedophiles," she said, proclaiming herself an avenging angel. The woman had recorded many audio and videotapes with her victims, where they supposedly confessed to pedophilia. But judging from the footage, it's obvious the men were tortured and mumbled whatever they were told to. Sheila La Barre was sentenced to life in prison on 2 counts of murder. Various tapes were found at the horse farm, various things whose owners remain unknown to this day. Finally, there were body parts, neither of Michael DeLuge nor of Kenneth Countie. Had the investigators proven a third murder, Sheila would have officially become a serial killer. The woman never took the blame, though. She stuck to her guns, saying she was an angel on a mission to avenge the suffering of children. What was it then? Her ravings? Lack of self-control? Or evil nature? Sheila learned about abuse at a very young age. Her father was an alcoholic, and he would beat and molest the girl.
She grew up in a very abusive environment, was displayed as a sexual toy, was passed around to older grown men, friends of her father's, as a sexual object.
One night, Sheila's father got so drunk, he started throwing things at his kids and wife. One of those random things was a can of antifreeze. It was meant to hit 6-year-old Sheila in the face, but the girl managed to cover it with her hands just in time. A scar on her fingers would be a grim reminder of that night. But even deeper scars would form in Sheila's psyche. It seems like the woman was subconsciously trying to avenge herself throughout her adulthood, but her victims had nothing to do with her childhood sufferings. Violence begets violence, and at times, it blooms into something horrendous that isn't necessarily aimed at the actual wrongdoers. Sheila's trauma was so deep that she fell down this rabbit hole and never got out.